Hello everybody. Today we are going to make an Italian sausage ragu with fried polenta. I made my own polenta and it's sitting in the refrigerator, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that later. This is a quick weeknight meal, but it packs a lot of glamour. You put this meal together and everyone's like, ooh, this is fancy. It's really easy. The first things that we need are a pound of ground beef, a pound of Italian sausage. I have an onion and I have fennel. A lot of people don't cook a lot with fennel. Just adds really great flavor. It's a great mix. Just kind of boosts the flavor in this sauce, in this ragu. I have my Dutch oven heating up. All you really need is a large saucepan. I just pulled out my Dutch oven because it's a good heavy duty pot for this. I'm gonna get the Italian sausage and the ground beef going in there. Hear that sizzle. And while that is starting to cook, I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting up my fennel and my onions. Here is how you cut fennel. Now fennel has kind of a black licorice. You smell this and you're like, whoa, black licorice. A little bit goes a long way. So we are not gonna use this entire bulb of fennel. We're just gonna use half of it and chop it up. I promise you though, this dish is not gonna taste like black licorice. It is not, it's going to be delicious. When you're cutting fennel, you just wanna cut off the tops and then you wanna cut off the bottom of the bulb. And then I'm gonna cut down the middle. You're gonna kind of peel off the outer side of just like you would an onion. And it kind of has the texture of celery. I guess that's the best way to say it. It has a celery texture. So I am just going to, it's really crunchy, and I'm just gonna slice this pretty thin. And then I'm just gonna slice a couple more times. I'm not gonna chop it as finely as I did the onion. So I'd say maybe half a cup to 3/4 cup of fennel. While I'm chopping up this fennel, let's take a look on how I made that polenta. Okay, now I've switched over to my wooden spoon. I am getting the rest of this meat just kind of mixed up. It is almost fully cooked. So now it's time to add in my onion, the fennel, and we're gonna let this cook down. I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic, but not just yet. I want this to get translucent, a little softer. I'm going to add pepper and some salt. And we will be adding to this 1 can of crushed tomatoes, a big can of crushed tomatoes, and a small can of tomato paste and a little bit of water. We will be doing Italian seasoning, so there will be a little bit of oregano in this today also. Okay, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of garlic. Now we're gonna get ready to add the crushed tomatoes. And the tomato paste. I am also gonna add to this, now I know not everyone is a wine drinker, I am gonna add a little bit of red wine to this sauce. It just gives it a delicious richness. If you don't cook with wine, no problem. It's fine without the red wine. I'm gonna add some water to this can. Any red wine you have. I'm not adding a whole lot, maybe 1/4 cup. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let this cook. We are gonna add some Italian seasoning before we are all done and put that lid on for it to simmer. It doesn't need to simmer for long. Okay, I don't have any Italian seasoning here in the house, so we're gonna make our own concoction. Italian seasoning is pretty much basil, oregano, rosemary, parsley. Those are my favorite spices to put in this, so that's what we're gonna do. If you have Italian seasoning at home, that's awesome. Add about 2 teaspoons of that into this sauce. First thing I'm gonna do is basil, oregano, rosemary, parsley. I am also going to add some sugar. just a little bit. That wine will help sweeten it up, but again, if you're not adding wine, just add, I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then after we let this simmer, this really only needs to cook for about 30 minutes. Once we let this cook for about 30 minutes, give it a taste. You'll know what it needs. You'll know if you need more salt and pepper or more Italian seasoning or more sugar. Just whatever is to your liking. Okay, so the sauce, the ragu, is cooking. While that's cooking, I'm going to get my polenta circles ready to get into the frying pan. So I'm using my cookie cutter. If you don't have a cookie cutter, you can cut them into squares. You can use a cup, part of your measuring device, whatever you have, whatever shape you want. They just need to be cut into some kind of a cute shape for presentation, of course, but they need to fit in your frying pan as well. Here we go. I am just going to start cutting my polenta. Okay, to my hot pan, I've added a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and a couple tablespoons of butter, and we are going to get the polenta in there to start browning. I've cut the polenta out with my circle cookie cutter, and I've set them on a paper towel to kind of soak up more of that moisture, because this is gonna spit and sputter at me, because oil and water do not like each other. I have my splash guard ready to put on top of this. We're gonna get all of these guys in the pan, and they're gonna cook for about 5 minutes each on each side until they're golden brown. Okay, so I am letting these polenta circles cook for about 5 minutes on each side. You want them golden brown on each side. It depends on what's in your polenta. I do have Parmesan cheese in this polenta, so it is gonna kind of stick a little bit. It's a little gooey, but that's okay. Okay, I am ready to taste this ragu. It looks and smells amazing. We'll see if it needs anything. Perfect. Oh my gosh, it doesn't need anything. Ooh, we're gonna have a happy family tonight. Alright guys, and that's it. We have 2 slices of the fried polenta. I put a heaping scoop of this delicious ragu, some Parmesan cheese, a little basil on top. Now we're going in for a taste. This is such a delicious meal. Look how elegant this looks. This looks really pretty. So again, you can make it to impress your friends, or you can just make it at home on a weeknight for your family. Oh, that's so good. I hope you guys try it. I hope you guys like it. Please don't forget to check out Sweet Melodies and subscribe on YouTube. Enjoy.